All right, so let's look at knowledge check 22.6.1. We have the if, else if, else statement that we've written in the last couple of knowledge checks. The problem with this is now if we wanted to run this across multiple month values at once, this statement's not vectorized. So we'd either have to do this in a looping statement or some type of function that is vectorized. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to go ahead and rewrite this in a vectorized approach. All right, what does that look like? Well, what I'm going to do, I'm going to use the dplyr case when function. And so within here, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to have my three different conditional options. And so the first condition is I can literally come here and take this month in 1 through 9. So if the month value passed is in 1 through 9, then it's going to execute this code that is after the tilde. And in this case, it is literally this code. All right, so that's my first condition. Next, so I put my comma in here. And so next I'm going to say, well, if this condition doesn't hold, it's going to move on to the next line. And that next line is going to simply be this condition here. Month is in 10 to 12. So if that condition holds, we're going to execute the code that follows the tilde. Here is going to be this statement. And I can even line up these tildes so this is easier to read. Okay, so now if our condition here holds, we're going to execute this print statement. If it does not, then what you do is you add this true, which seems kind of weird, right? But the way to read this is, all right, we're going to do this sequentially. So the case when is going to look here first. Does month fall into this conditional statement? If so, execute. If not, we move to the next statement. So we'll check here. If this doesn't hold, then basically we're saying execute true, right? There's no other options. This is kind of like the final else that we wrote up here. And so what happens? We want to go ahead and print invalid month. All right, so we have our month. Let me just bring this down here just to make this explicit. So we have months 1 through 13, and we want to execute this conditional statement in a vectorized approach. When I run this, now we can see we have why is that? All right, so we almost have this right. We're going to notice that I've got this extra invalid month that's printing out here and then here. And the reason for that is I added this print statement. We don't need this print statement within case when. We only needed that within this if-else statement. So I can go ahead and remove that. And so basically what case when is going to do, it's going to return the values that get executed here. So I run this and there we go. Now we have our vector of 1 through 13. And for each one we have either the file path that's associated with that month value or we have invalid month. So one thing to kind of point out here was that extra print statement. When you execute an if-else statement like this, the if-else does not return like a non-printed statement, okay? Whereas this case when, this vectorized approach, it does. So that is why we had a little bit of a different final option where we had either print or non-print. Minor details.